Welcome back to the JCPod, partner with Stare Down Sports. Stare Down Greatness. Man, episode 251 coming at you today. We got some finals action finally happening in the hockey world and in the basketball world. Last night we had the Houston... Man, talk about a flashback. The Edmonton Oilers, they go up 1-0 on the Florida Panthers. And in the NBA, we have the Indiana Pacers tonight traveling to OKC to take on Oklahoma City Thunders as 9-point favorites, that being the Thunder being 9-point favorites. So we got finals action happening, and then once the finals are over, you see it up there. 91 days till NFL Week 1, so NFL Week 1 is basically going to be here before we know it. Next week we have the breakdowns. But before we get into the breakdowns, I want to kind of just go over some. It does say college news up there. There's actually not really much college news to talk about as of yet, so we're going to hold off on that. But we do have some NFL news to talk about. First thing I'll talk off the bat. Anthony Richardson, man. But we got that to talk about. We also have my top 10. I don't know if I want to say like favorite futures, most intriguing futures. These are just 10 futures that I'm looking at to where it's like, I'll admit, I love majority of them. There's about 2 or 3 where I'm like, man, I don't fully know, but I think I'm full. I want to say I've already bet. Either I already bet it or I'm going to be betting it. So there's a few that I like, and then there's one with some kind of meh odds. But like I said, there's 10 bets I really want to talk about. We got one honorable mention because this Colts situation. Kind of going to mess that one up a little bit, but without any further ado, man, I think that pretty much goes over it. So yeah, NFL news, and then I got my 10 favorite futures to talk about before we officially begin next week, the breakdowns of the AFC and the NFC as we head into the NFL season. Man, like I said, we're 91 days away. I swear I just put up like 177 on this counter a couple days ago, and man, 91 days away. Without any further ado, let's hop into the NFL, talk about some NFL news. First thing, Anthony Richardson. Man, gonna miss all of minicamp. He is dealing with a shoulder injury that has to deal with, from what I understand, it just was, I don't know if it's pain in his throwing shoulder, and further evaluation showed he's aggravated the AC joint injury that ended his rookie season, which I was going to say, I wonder if this was a re-aggravation of the injury, or if the injury just never healed right. It's one of those situations, but regardless, though, it's just, I feel like I come on this show every week, and it's, Anthony Richardson's hurt, Anthony Richardson this, Anthony Richardson that, when it comes to the Colts talk, and it's just disappointing. It's really just disappointing at this point, man. It's not even like, it's frustrating, it's disappointing, because it's like, man, this guy has so much potential, but it's just injury after injury after injury. He's supposed to compete with Daniel Jones for the job, but it sounds like he's going to be taking off all the team's practices this week. Let me rephrase it. He won't participate in the remainder of the team's off-season program practices. So there's mandatory minicamp next week. So not only is he going to miss that, he's going to miss all the off-season practices. And Steichen basically didn't come out with a timetable. He just said that I don't expect him to have surgery, but we hope he's back before training camp. So basically all this is coming. Basically hearing all this makes me be like, all right. So it sounds like Daniel Dimes, Mr. Danny Jones himself, is going to be our quarterback going forward. So I'm going to look, when I project this Colts team going into the offseason, I'm going to project him with Daniel Jones as their starter, which I would say probably gives them an extra win or two. I don't think it's going to be too much of a difference. It's one of those things where it's like the floor is going to be a little bit raised now, but I don't know if the ceiling might shrink a tad bit with Daniel Jones in just because of all the talent that Anthony Richardson has. But when Anthony Richardson's in, the bad can be really, really bad sometimes. I just don't know, man. It's to the point. The Colts and the Steelers have the same odds to make the playoffs. At least that was before this news came out. So I don't know. I think the Steelers it's gone. It's gone now because of this news. That makes a lot more sense. Because I was looking this morning. The Colts make the playoffs for like plus 162. The Steelers make the playoffs for like plus 150. Now it's not even up. They just completely took down that option. So it makes me wonder how much that changes the odds for the Colts. One of the bets, we'll get into that a little bit later. One of the futures I was going to talk about, I have the Colts to finish number 1 or number 2 in the division. That's something personally I would have gave out number 2, but I would have bet them to win the division as well. But I think the Colts are going to finish second place in their division regardless of Anthony Richardson or Daniel Jones starting. It's just a matter of if one of those two guys starts, do they propel them over the Texans or not? I just don't see the Jaguars. I think the Jaguars are going to be about 7-10 at best. The Titans, they're going to win 6 games at best, I think. So I just assume that the Jags and the Jaguars are both going to be kind of Jaguars maybe will be a little bit more mediocre, but I think both these teams are going to be mediocre to bad this year. So it's right now between the Colts and the Texans have the division. I think the Colts are kind of set up kind of nice, but yeah, this whole quarterback situation is going to make it all that more intriguing. Thankfully, the nice part is I guess I can kind of say it's Daniel Jones and Anthony Richardson. Somewhat similar games enough to where you can sub one in for the other and it shouldn't change the offense too much. It's just like said, the floor and the ceiling might be a little bit different depending on who comes in, but yeah. Drafted in 2023, he's appeared in 15 games, 56% of his passes for 2,300 yards, 11 touchdowns against 13 interceptions. The rushing aspect for him is going to be there, but it's just, man, I just don't know. It just sucks because it's like, man, we have a mobile quarterback who is now injury prone, so it's like, do you really want him running that much? And he struggles to throw the ball a little bit. So that's just, when it comes to Anthony Richardson, it's just frustrating, man, because like I said, I just want to see what the Colts have in him. Because I feel like we really haven't even got to see what the Colts have in him. We've just seen flashes and highlights of, I guess, highlights and lowlights. We've just seen both, and yeah, we've not gotten a full. I don't even know. I just leave it at that. I just hope he can get healthy, man. This is beyond frustrating. But yeah, a guy who needs. Biggest thing is we need this guy. They've come out multiple times. He needs more reps. He needs more reps. He needs more reps. And yet somehow we just can't get the guy reps. Whether it's just injury, him tapping himself out. It's just frustrating because, like I said, I just want to see the football player out there and play so well. And it's just not seeming like, more and more likely, it's just seeming like it's not going to happen. Like I said, he should be psyching hopes he's good to go before the team basically comes back and they start their regular season workout stuff in like August. But I guess we'll see until then. Terry McLaurin is upset with the lack of extension talks, which makes sense because they even signed a couple receivers, but won't extend him. He's entering the final year of his contract with the Commanders, but the two sides have had minimal talks regarding a new deal, according to Jordan Schultz. It's unclear if he's going to report for mandatory minicamp next week. He hasn't participated in Phase 3 of OTAs, which he really doesn't need to because it's optional in the OTAs. The O stands for optional. He signed a 3-year, $68 million extension in 2022. He ranks 16th among wide receivers with a $22.78 million annual salary. His market value is projected to be $31 million. So, yeah, that's a $9 million pay increase per year. He had a really good year last year. 82 passes for 196 yards. A career-high 13 receiving touchdowns as well. So, it's, yeah, I would assume they're going to get... I just don't think they're going to move on from him. I just don't know what the... I just don't know why. It's just going to get a little bit loud, but I think they will. If they don't keep Terry McLaurin, that's truly... I'll be shocked. Like, that's one of those things where it's like, they don't keep him, that's going to be a real issue. Lamar Jackson is in the introductory stage of contract extensions. I feel like we just had his extension. I guess not. 5-year, $260 million contract in 2023. Yeah, Mike said, it's just crazy. They're already like... that just goes on the NFL. It's better to get it done sooner rather than later. Or I guess, yeah, sooner rather than later. But yeah, to start extension talks 2-year into a deal, it's a 5-year deal is just absolutely insane. That's the NFL for you. Rashad Bateman signed a 3-year, $36 million extension with $20 million guaranteed. It locks him up through 2029 now with the Ravens. So Eric DeCosta, the general manager of the Ravens, came out and said, Rashad has made a big jump last year, and we are excited to watch him this season. He's a young playmaker who's an important piece of this offense. Congratulations to Rashad and his family. This came out in a statement. Shout out to Rashad Bateman. I think this is a really good ad for them to keep a guy. He's best season of his career last year, 45 receptions, 156 yards, and 9 touchdowns on 72 targets. And it was the first time he was healthy for every regular season game last year, so shout out to him for that as well. Only 25 years old, coming out of the 2021 draft. I mean, he still has a lot of time to go. Good weapon to keep for the Ravens, who... I would say the only thing you really would say they're lacking on the team is a true dominant number 1 wide receiver. I mean, they have Derrick Henry, they have Lamar Jackson, they have the tight ends. The biggest thing I would say offensively, yeah, they're missing is wide receivers, so to lock up one of the guys they very much need. Good decision there. Apparently the Browns OCs come out and said any one of our 4 QBs can win the job. Not shocking there, huh? Hey, guess what? Anybody can win the job. We talked about it, yes. We talked about Tuesday, though. Joe Flacco's the leader in the clubhouse right now. He's sitting in pole position, and it's just a matter of like I said, it sounds like it's two QB battles. It's Joe Flacco versus Kenny Pickett, and then it's Dylan Gabriel versus Shedeur Sanders. Dylan Gabriel versus Shedeur Sanders, I'm assuming, is the battle for the backup role. And I'm assuming they're going to get rid of Joe Flacco or Kenny Pickett. This is all assumptions, by the way. They could keep all four. I truly doubt it, though. And then there's Deshaun Watson, who's the fifth guy in the room, who, yeah, he's not playing. He's going to miss all 2025 with another torn Achilles. And even if he's ready to play, I really don't think they're going to bring him back. I think at this point, I don't know if we see Deshaun Watson play football again. It's truly to that point. Derek Carr came out and had some very interesting things to say. He came out and said he didn't want to sit out and just take money from the Saints. So that's the main reason why he decided to retire. I never played just for the money. I had a whole bunch of people tell me how crazy I was, and man, I would never have done that. That's all cool, but I've gained all these things that the world has had to offer, and it doesn't really do anything for your heart. I knew my heart was at peace, and that's really all that mattered. He gave up 30. If you remember, Derek Carr gave up $30 million when he retired, but the Saints allowed him to keep $10 million. And that was, he had 2 years left in his 4-year, $150 million deal. I mean, we're talking about a guy who's a quarterback in the NFL. He's going to be okay on money. So I will say it is crazy to think that he gave up $30 million when I won't lie to you, that's a really interesting situation because, that's really him doing a favor for the team, which shows a lot about his character because I don't know how many people would be willing to say, hey, I'm just going to sit out for a whole year. I'm going to take all my money and just go on. But, I mean, it's just crazy because it sounded like, I almost wonder because with the shoulder injury, with all the weird stuff that came on, it's like, was it a wrist injury that once that kind of started to heal and everything, you started to ramp up again, it's like, oh, now your shoulder's messed up too? Or was it something he always knew about? I just don't know, man. This whole shoulder, so this is what Derek Carr had to say as well when it comes to the shoulder part. I wouldn't have been able to play if I had the surgery, and then if I tried to play with it, I wasn't near 100%, so that doesn't help the Saints. I just felt like it wasn't the right thing to do for myself and for the team. So it makes me just wonder, man, why did it take so long for him to come up with this decision? Was he truly trying to get back, or was it just one of those things where they had to let it heal a little bit, see what happens? I wonder why it took so long, and then two, it's just, man, poor Derek Carr. This is just, what a way to, I just think of the highlight, the way he ended his career, that hurdle, just deep in their season, the mess up his wrist and shoulder, but it's just, man, the fact that he has to retire because of all this, and he wouldn't have played next season, I mean, it sounds like it seriously was a very, very, very bad injury, which really, really sucks coming from a guy who has horrible shoulders just because years and years of abuse from sports. Yeah, not dealing with shoulder stuff's not fun. If he would have missed the whole season too, even regardless of when he got surgery, can't blame him too much, but it is crazy to say that he was going to just gave away all that money. But like I said, he's an NFL quarterback. I think he's doing fine on money. Jaquan Brisker said he plans to stay in the same way despite his history of concussions. He's been diagnosed with a concussion in each of his 3 NFL seasons. Wow, I didn't even realize that. So yeah, he got a concussion last year in week 5, and that kept him out the whole rest of the season. I didn't even realize he missed all of last year. That's wow. I just totally spaced that he was gone all last year from concussions. That's actually really, really scary. He and Chris Olave are in very similar situations. It's just, man, that's just really, really, that's just really scary, man. Yeah, so they find Tommy Tremble on the play for the hit, but they were both concussed. But Tommy Tremble ended up coming back later in the season. So apparently, this is from Brisker. His symptoms persisted to the point where he had to see a specialist from the University of Pitt. He learned on his teammates during that time. It's hard to be away from football. I just can't believe it. He's only 26-year-old. Like I said, he's just focused on playing football, obviously. Yeah. That's something really scary like that because of him and the Olave situation. Because you're looking at one of these. I mean, shit. We were talking about that with Olave. I mean, these guys are literally 1 or 2 concussions away from their careers are over. You really can't mess with the head either. And I think if the NFL comes out and you get 5 concussions in the NFL. I mean, that even seems egregious now just to hear that. But you get 5 concussions. I mean, the fact he's had a concussion every year of his career too is one of those things where it's man, that's truly really scary. That is something super, super scary, especially for the mental health side of it. Like I said, he's only 26 years old, and I think, how long, your brain grows until 25? Yeah, it says your brain apparently grows in the mid-20s, obviously. So you got to think about this. This dude is basically right towards the end of his brain growth, and the last 3 years of the growth might be stunted because of concussions. Very, very scary. And like I said, him and Olave are both in similar situations, so those are 2 guys to keep an eye on just for injury-wise, because they get another concussion, like I said. I don't want to go down that road, but I don't know what's going to happen. The Broncos are hosting J.K. Dobbins on a visit. That's basically all the news I got. There's not much more out of that. Speaking of another guy dealing with injuries, hopefully he can stay healthy because he's a guy who's been playing really, really well when he's healthy, but the issue is can't keep him healthy. Michael Parsons is going to attend the Cowboys minicamp, even with contract talks going on. I am assuming it's going to be one of those Jerry Jones things where they don't sign him until the very end, or it's going to be really late into the offseason. They're going to overpay for him, sign him for like $42 million or something like that a year. It's going to be something dumb like that, I feel like. Seahawks are... Sam Darnold's not losing his starting job as of right now. Yeah. I don't know why that's news, but I guess I'll just share it. Dave Flower says he feels 100% after missing the postseason. It's nice to hear him say that, but we're going to have to see how it actually goes. Jim Marshall for the Vikings has passed away at the age of 87. Whew. Shout out to him. Let me see. He was drafted in 1960 by the Cleveland Browns. Played 19 of his 20 seasons oh wow, 19 of his 20 with the Minnesota Vikings. He had sorry, I'm just reading some stuff about Jim Marshall because I didn't know. This was actually really fascinating. He had a league record for position players for 282 consecutive games played, a mark held by Marshall until Brett Favre broke it. Shout out to Jim Marshall, man. That's a lot of games to play in a row, especially as a non-QB, non-kicker, stuff like that. That's going to do it for NFL news today. Like I said, the biggest one is that Anthony Richardson news, man. Hopefully he can stay healthy, man, because that's... Like I said, I just want to see at least one full season with him, just see what it is. But I don't know if we're going to get that at this point. But like I said, that's going to do it for the NFL portion of it. So now we're going to talk about some futures. I'm thinking for the futures, like I said, we got 10 of them. This is no in particular order. I'm just basically going to go over some tidbits, some quick little bullet points of hey, this is why I like this is why I don't. Some stuff I'm potentially worried about it, and then, yeah, just all that jazz. You know how it be, but I just want to give out these 10 before we start talking about specific teams and stuff like that, because there's some of these I will not be bringing up for a month or two. There's some I could be bringing up literally next week on Tuesday, but I just want to talk about some of these because there's numbers that are already changing. Some of these numbers won't be there anymore. There's already 3 of these I'm going to talk about where the numbers moved against me. So I just want to have these brought up before numbers completely change. And like I said, there's just some things that I like. So this is pretty much like a little primer to get us into breakdown season, which starts next week. So, like I said, hopping straight into it. The first one we'll talk about, this is probably one of my favorites. For sure, I'll give out my 3 favorites by far, and then we'll start going into a little bit. Before we get out to the favorites, honorable mention, I guess we'll do before that. Can't make up my mind. Honorable mentions, Colts to be number 1 or number 2 in the division. I don't know what the odds of that are because FanDuel locked it up because, like I said, Anthony Richardson is dealing with those injuries now, but I like the Colts. I think they're going to, obviously I like the Colts, but I like the Colts to finish 1 or 2 in their division. I think it should be very similar to last year where they're plus 280 to win the division. They're actually they have the second best odds, but like I said, I liked the chance of them to be if I could do exact position, which I wanted to do, I was going to bet on 1 or 2 and just tell you what the odds were, but that's still locked. So yeah, I guess I really can't do that, but that's just an honorable mention. Number 1, one of my most favorite bets of the offseason. This is basically me calling my shot. I like West Virginia over 5.5. It was plus 134 when I took it. It's now in the plus 150s. This is a team where I know the Big Ten is going to be tough, Big Ten. The Big 12 is going to be tough because they have a lot of returning veteran quarterbacks in that league. But you're telling me this West Virginia team that won 6 games last year is getting an upgrade in coaching and they have the same over-under and it's at plus money? Thank you. I really like that a lot. I think Rich Rod is going to do a lot with this program. I see it very similar to what Kurt Cignetti did with IU last year where, don't get me wrong, the schedule's a little tough. Little bit. But it's one of those things where it's I could easily see West Virginia winning 6 games. I think next year their goal is just to get bowl eligible, I would think. And I think there's a really good chance that they are going to get that done. Just because, like I said, I think the coaching upgrade is that much of a difference where they're going to win an extra 1 or 2 games. This is the schedule they're looking at. Robert Morris week 1. Then it's Ohio, Pitt, Kansas, Utah, BYU, UCF, TCU, Houston, Colorado, Arizona State, Texas Tech. So realistically, Robert Morris, Ohio, they should win those games. They beat Pitt, there's 3. I could see them beating Kansas. There's 4. I think if Utah's as bad as Utah was last year, then that's 5 wins right there. And even if we take away the Kansas win, then we'll just give them 4 wins. We'll say they'll beat Houston, Ohio, Robert Morris. There's 3 of their wins. So basically, we're asking for 3 more wins out of that between Pitt, Kansas, Utah, BYU, UCF, TCU, Colorado, Arizona State, Texas Tech. Like I said, some of these teams are ascending teams in the Big 12, but it's the Big 12, man. Any game could be your game on any given Saturday. So the fact that, like I said, it's over 6.5 wins, and I don't want to say easily, but I think they have 3 easy wins in their schedule. So you're telling me that they just need to win 3 more games? Tell me they need to win 3 out of their, 8, 9 final games? I definitely think it's doable. So I love West Virginia over 5.5 wins. I like that it went up. I might even double down on that and get back at them again. I just don't think West Virginia's going to have that bad of a year. Like I said, if Neil Brown can get this team to 6 wins, I think Rich Rod can get this team to 8 or 9 wins. I don't think it's going to get that high, though. I mean, 8-4. I think even 6-6 for them would be a pretty good season. But I think they can go 7-5, 8-4, and make a bowl. Remember, if anybody has any questioning about how Rich Rod, where he's been, what his coaching's been, you might remember us talking about one of his programs on this pod here. Remember how I talked about Kurt Signetti, James Madison, upgrade and all that? Our guy Rich Rod was at a good old Jacksonville State. And if you remember Jacksonville State on this show, I don't want to say shine a light on them, but we got a little spotlight on them a few of these games. They were a really good team at covering. They were really good. I mean, the offense was really good. I can't remember what league they played in, but Sunbelt, I think. But whatever league they were in, Jacksonville State was very, very competitive. They were a really good team, I would say. And I mean, this was a team that the last 2 years wasn't even in D1 football. They were in D1 AA or whatever it's called now, the FBS, FCS, whatever it is. Oh, they were not. Sorry, they weren't in FCS, but they weren't in D1 football. And then they move up with Rich Rod. In the first couple seasons they moved up, they've been 8-4, really, really good season. So like I said, and some of that talent, very similar to Kurt Signetti as well. He goes from James Madison to IU. Some of the talent follows him. Some of this talent is coming from Jacksonville State to West Virginia as well. I love West Virginia's quarterback in Garrett Green. I just think that this is a team that... Oh, wait. Garrett Green graduated last year, didn't he? Forgot about that. Oopsies. But regardless of the quarterback, I'll admit I don't know who their quarterback's going to be. I think it's going to be Nico, who was the guy who they had last year. Don't know exactly who their quarterback's going to be, but regardless, I like West Virginia to have a way better season. Even if it's not a way better season, 6 wins with a way better coach than Neil Brown, I think that can definitely get done. Oh, Garrett Green's on the Bucs now. I forgot that he, whoa, he's playing wide receiver? Whoa, shout out Garrett Green, man. On the Bucs now, playing wide receiver. But that's the first one. West Virginia, over 5.5 wins. Punch it. Next one, I love. Giants under 5.5 wins. I got it minus 145. I don't know what it is now. I think the juice is way, way heavier now. But originally when this came out, the line was at 3.5. And then, I don't want to say this is what exactly did it, but I just saw the video, and then the very next day it changed. There's a video of Russell Wilson throwing a football into a crowd during a Knicks game or during some type of basketball game. It might have even been during March Madness. And then the win total immediately went from under 3.5 to under 5.5, and jumped 2 total wins. And you best believe that I'm all over this under. This is this is probably one of my most favorite NFL bets of the season. I love this Giants under. I just don't know how this team's going to... I mean, you want to know who they're playing? AFC West, NFC North. 2 of the hardest divisions in football, and Giants have to play both of them. I mean, you're talking... This is their schedule, by the way. This is the first month of the season. Commanders, Cowboys, Chiefs, Chargers. They probably won't be favored until and they're at New Orleans week 5. I would assume they might be favored in that game, but if they aren't favored in that game, they play the Eagles, then the Broncos, then the Eagles again, 49ers. We're looking at November. They probably won't be favored in the game until November, maybe October. I mean, this is a gauntlet of a schedule. And, Cowboys, I guess Cowboys, they might be favored at the Cowboys, maybe. I don't think so, though, but maybe. But, we're looking at Commanders, ascending team, Cowboys, not. Chiefs, really, really good. Chargers, ascending team. Saints are on a down year. Eagles, Super Bowl winners. Broncos, ascending team. Eagles, Super Bowl winner. 49ers, ascending. Bears, ascending. Packers, ascending. Lions, great team. Patriots, ascending. There are no easy games on the schedule. And then you get a bye week, week 14. Commanders, Vikings, Raiders, Cowboys. I don't see 6 wins there. I genuinely cannot find you 6 wins. I can say we'll just say they split all their division games. That means they beat the Giant. There's 3 games right there. I can see them beating the Saints. There's 4. I mean, I guess it can maybe beat the Patriots. There's 5. I mean, maybe the Raiders, but I still don't think so. I mean, regardless, and that's me giving them a win against the Commanders and a win against the Eagles that they didn't get last year against the Eagles for sure, I think. I actually can't remember, but regardless, I mean, and the roster's not the best. It's a decent roster, but I mean, Jackson Dart, Jameis Winston, Russell Wilson. I don't know, we're going to get more into this. I do like how they got Cam Scatterboo, though. We're going to get more into this roster breakdowns and everything. Like, Greg Dulcich is on this team now? Really? Anyway, like I said, we're going to get more into the breakdowns of the actual, Notre Dame, Bo Collins? Alright, I need to look more into this roster. They actually got some good names. Lil Jordan Humphrey? Zach Pascal? No, but, in all seriousness, though, I just don't see the Giants winning 5. I just don't see them winning 6 games. I almost said 5. We need 6. And like I said, this over-under originally was at 3.5. Immediately jumped up to 5.5, and the second got up to 5.5. I was all over that. I actually did parlay. I usually hate parlaying futures. But I parlayed the Giants under with an under I'm about to give out. Saints. We'll explain it more in a little bit, but I parlayed the Giants under and the Saints under together, and I got like plus 180 something. Which I guess I might as well talk about. Another team I don't expect to do too much this year. The Saints. I got them under 6.5 wins. This was before Derek Carr retired. Yeah, this is by the way. Giants under, Saints under is plus 186. Way side note though, this just got announced as Amon-Ra underwent offseason knee surgery. Should be ready to go by should be ready to go by training camp. Just keep that in mind for your fantasy players. But like I said, I like the Saints under 6.5 wins as well. I think the under is now down to 5.5 and it's pretty juiced. I still don't mind that at all. If you can get 6.5, I would hop all over that 6.5. But Giants and Saints are in similar boats where it's like, at least for the Saints, their division isn't nearly as good as the Giants' division is. Like, the Giants' division is, not only is the Giants' division really, really good, Eagles are going to be amazing, Commanders are going to be probably amazing, and then the Cowboys are at least going to have a pulse. And then, like I said, and the Giants are playing the AFC West, and they're playing the NFC North. Like, the under is, I won't lie to you, there's an over I'm going to give out in the college world where I might even throw this Giants one with that. Like, this Giants under 5.5 is, I like it. I just don't see them winning 6 games. Then when it comes to the Saints, I got them under 6.5 wins as well. I don't see them going 7-10, and that was with Derek Carr. Now you're telling me Spencer Rattler's in pole position with Tyler Shuck behind him. Jake Haener hurt his oblique, so he's going to miss a lot of the offseason. I mean, there's just no good vibes around the Saints team. They got a new quarterback. A lot of the people, I think a lot of Saints fans kind of understand they're probably going to be in a rebuild here soon. So yeah, I just look at the under 6.5, and I just see it as like, okay, I really, really like that. Like I said, I parlayed the Giants under 5.5, Saints under 6.5 wins, and I got plus 186. That is like between that and the West Virginia over, I am very, very excited about those 2 plays. Those are 2 plays where I'm not going to say automatic because nothing's automatic in the betting world, but I feel really good about those. Mainly the NFL ones. The West Virginia one, I'm a bit iffy on because anything can happen, obviously. But I really think that, the unders for the Saints the Saints just don't have a quarterback in general. The Giants have a meh quarterback, I'd say. So, we're potentially looking at Tyler Shuck starting all season for the Saints. Them potentially tanking for Arch. The march for Arch, as some people are saying. So that's just an under that, I just don't. Mind you, this under is heavily juiced. If it's at 5.5, it might be even heavily juiced as well. I won't lie to you, that's partially why I parlayed it. The juice was just so heavy where it's like, there's almost no point in me betting it solo, and I usually, like I said, hate betting futures together, but if I can find a future that I feel really, really, really confident about, like I feel confident in the Giants under 5.5 wins, then I'll start to, like, all right, maybe I'll make this the anchor point, add 1 or 2 things here, because, like, for example, we'll talk about it in a minute, so I don't want to jump too ahead, but there's, like, for example, we'll just say the Colts over 5.5 wins is like minus 200. I have no idea what it is. But the Colts over 5.5 wins, if I really like that, they're over-unders at 7.5, so I'm assuming the 5.5 odds are like 400 minus. I might throw that with so if that's the case, I might throw that with the Giants to get at like plus 100, plus 120, get like a little bit of the plus odds. That's basically what I'm using some of these heavier legs for. To combine a super heavy leg, maybe with a semi-heavy leg will be good, or combine 2 semi-heavy legs to make a somewhat decent, like I said, I'm not going to do that very much this offseason. There's just a couple bets I do like that with. Another one that is basically a parlay leg to me is Illinois over 7.5 wins. That's minus 172. That's another one where it's like I might parlay that with the Giants under. You could probably get decent odds. But I just don't like the juice. I love Illinois over 7.5 wins. They're bringing back their quarterback. Why can't I remember? Luke Altmaier. They're bringing back Luke Altmaier, and their schedule is fairly decent. We're talking Western Illinois, Duke, Western Michigan. That should be 3 wins right there. Then they play Indiana, USC, Purdue, Ohio State, Washington, Rutgers, Maryland, Wisconsin, Northwestern. I mean, realistically, they beat Western Illinois, there's 1. They beat Duke, there's 2. Beat Western Michigan, there's 3. They should beat Purdue. Maybe they won't, but if they beat Purdue, there's 4. They do have Ohio State, which is tough. But they beat Rutgers, there's 5. Beat Maryland, there's 6. Beat Northwestern, there's 7. And then we just need one more win. I'm assuming those are all games they're favored in as well. They could potentially beat Indiana. I mean, they could potentially beat USC. They could potentially beat Washington. They could potentially beat Wisconsin. Regardless, I do like Illinois over 7.5, and I basically have 2. I'll talk about it. I'll talk about it as well now. I have 2 bets basically on Illinois. I think Illinois is another team that will step up in the Big Ten this year, and so like I said, I like them to at minimum. At worst, I think they're going to go 8-4 because basically all those teams I just named you that I think they're going to beat. They're probably going to be favored in it, and they should really beat it. I mean, Luke Altmaier is one of the better quarterbacks in college football, and the fact that you're getting him to return. Brett Bielema just signed an extension. You're getting a lot of the core that you need to return. They do lose Pat Bryant. I think they lose a running back to Syracuse. I think they also lost a running back to the draft as well. So that might be an issue for Illinois. But overall, like I said, reading out their schedule, I like Luke Altmaier coming back. I trust in their coach. I think getting 8 wins is doable. And Illinois to make the college football playoffs is plus 650. I'm probably going to do, I don't know if I'll do a full unit on that. Full unit for me, by the way, $100. That's what. I've basically slowly been upping it to where now basically a full unit for me next season is going to be $100. Might have to drop it to $50 at one point, but my goal is to keep it. At the pace I'm going right now, knock on wood, should be $100 all season. But yeah, I might do like a half unit on that. They're like 50 on it or something like that. But in order to make the college football playoff at plus 650, I think there's going to be 3 to 4 Big Ten teams that make it. So there's got to be one of the 3 to 4 top Big Ten teams. And I think that's definitely doable. I mean, you're looking at Ohio State's probably going to run it back. Penn State looks like they're going to be really good. Oregon's probably going to be decent. But you go outside of that. I mean, are we for sure on Oregon, though? They got some questions as well. I mean, there's a lot. There's enough questions where I'm looking at it like, all right, maybe, just maybe. I mean, because, yeah, Michigan State, I don't know about. UCLA, no. Purdue, no. Oregon, maybe. Minnesota, I think they're going to be, at best, they're going to be 10-2. Washington, no. Wisconsin, no. Northwestern, no. USC, Nebraska, Iowa, Michigan, Maryland. But I mean, you really go through it. If you're telling me 4 Big Ten teams are going to make it, why not Illinois? I mean, I think they have a really good chance of a good year. And like I said, I'm not best, but at worst I see them going 8-4 with the schedule they have, unless they truly just drop 2 or 3 games. So I like their over, and then like I said, they're plus 650 to make the college football playoffs. That's going to be one of my long shots I like. I just love the odds play. This isn't I love Illinois to make the playoffs. I love the odds for them to, because I mean, you're telling me if they're 8-4, if they go 9-3, 10-2, something like that, they might sneak in as like an 11. They might get in as like an 11, 12 seed. 9-3, they might not, but it really just depends. I have no idea, but plus 650 for the odds. I really do like that. We got one more college bet I'll talk about. Maryland over 4.5 wins is minus 115. This is simply just the fact that I think Maryland just basically needs to not screw up, and they should be able to quote unquote easily hit this over. I'm going to read you Maryland's schedule. So this is how I look at it. They play Florida Atlantic, Northern Illinois, Townsend. Have to win those 3 games. They have to win those 3 games. If they beat Florida Atlantic, Northern Illinois, Townsend, then they have to win 2 games of Wisconsin, Washington, Nebraska, UCLA, Indiana, Rutgers, Illinois, Michigan, Michigan State. So basically, I'm asking if they come out of their first 3 games 3-0. I really think I really love this over hitting. Like I said, it's minus 115. I think it's moved a slight bit. I don't know for sure because FanDuel's they've been really weird with their over-unders. They've been changing up some of the markets, changing up how they look. So it's a bit different. But like I said, I think Maryland, if Maryland wins the first 3 games of the season, I think they can easily win 2 games in the Big Ten. I mean, UCLA, Rutgers. That could be their 2 games. And, hey, our over hits. Could be Indiana. They could beat Nebraska. They could maybe beat UCLA. They maybe could beat Michigan State even. I don't know. We're really going to have to see. But over 4.5 just feels a tad low. If it was at 5.5, 6.5, I'd probably lay off. But 3.5, 4.5, that range feels. I mean, I think this is a team that can go 5-7, 6-6. 7-5. I mean, that's not. I don't think that's nearly out of the cards at all. Their quarterback situation is going to be a bit interesting, though, just to see who ends up. I'd be lying to you if I said who I knew was going to get this official start, but like I said, 4.5 wins feels a little low, especially when they can come out the gates 3-0. If they come out if they don't win all 3 of those games, I'm immediately going to feel nervous about it. But if they go 3-0, I absolutely love it. I lied. I have one more one. Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech over 7.5 wins is -138. We gave out this last year at over 4.5, and them boys did us right, man. They had a really good season. I think they win about 8-4. Haynes King is coming back. So is Jamal Haynes. So I'm just taking this over again simply for that reason. You look at their schedule, you got Colorado, Gardner-Webb, Clemson, Temple, Wake Forest, Virginia Tech, Duke, Syracuse, NC State, Boston College, Pitt, and then the very last week of the season is Georgia. I definitely think they can win 8 games in the schedule. I mean, even if they don't beat Colorado, Gardner-Webb, there's 1, Temple 2, Wake Forest 3. I think they can hang with Virginia Tech, there's 4. Duke and Syracuse, if they win one of those, there's 5. And then you got NC State, Boston College, Pitt, Georgia. It's going to be tough. This one's going to be really, really close, but I think they can go 8-4 again. I've pretty much about my prediction is 8-4, so I think a 7.5 win total is absolutely perfect. And like I said, Haynes King's back, Jamal Haynes is back. They did us good last year with that over 4.5 win total, so I'm going to run it back again with our boys. Love it. There's 3 more bets I want to talk about. All 3 of these are in the NFL, and then at the end of the show, I will give out all of them in order, so you can just have them. Ashton Jeanty over 1,075 rushing yards. This at one point was over 1,050 rushing yards, and it went up 25 yards. So, not the happiest about that. But I think Jeanty's going to have like an 1,100-yard rushing season. I just don't know who's going to take carries away from him right now. It's the Raiders, and I just think he's going to be a feature back. And if he's a feature back, I think he's going to be a feature back. I think he's going to be a big part of the offense. So I love his chances to hit this over. I mean, this is a running back room. Chris Collier, Dylan Lobo? I don't know how to. I apologize. Sincere McCormick, Raheem Mostert, Zamir White. None of those names scream, hey, we're going to steal a shit ton of touches away from Ashton Jeanty. So, assuming he's going to get the bulk of the carries, yeah, he can easily have 1,100 rushing yards with the talent he is. It's just going to be how does he adjust to the NFL? That's the big question. But love that number there. The Buccaneers to win the division at +100. They're my pick to win the NFC South. I just can't get myself fully on the Atlanta Falcons. And if I'm not taking the Atlanta Falcons, I for sure am not taking the Saints. Don't think I'm going to take the Carolina Panthers this year, so it really just leaves me with the Bucs. It's mainly for the fact that they're +100. I love that you're getting the Bucs at plus money. It's one of those situations where I won't lie to you. I might bet on the Bucs or the Falcons to win the division, and at worst, I break even with the Bucs. If the Falcons win, you gain some money. So that's a little, I'm not going to lie to you, that's a little hedge situation I might play there. Just for the simple fact that I think it's going to come down to the Bucs or the Falcons in the division. Like I said, the Saints are donezo with their quarterback situation and everything. Panthers are still, I would say, a couple, like two or so years away from being, I don't know, they can, if they do it this year, it'd be, I'd say, a little bit shocking, but I think they're probably like 1.5 to 2 years away from contending for a division title. But without messing the NFC South was last year, I mean, you never know. But like I said, Bucs plus, the fact that it's +100, I love the Bucs there, and like I said, that might be a situation where, what is Michael Penix going to do also? But if you look at the division, it's Michael Penix, Baker Mayfield, Bryce Young, who the fuck knows for the Saints. So, out of all those, I'm going to put my faith in Baker Mayfield out of all those names, and potentially we'll see what Michael Penix does. Like I said, might be a head situation. The final one I want to give out, it's hit for 17 years straight, damn near. Mike Tomlin, over 8.5 wins. The Steelers, well, it's not Mike Tomlin, but Steelers have over 8.5 wins. It's plus money. I feel like a fool not to take this. I mean, they go 9-8 almost every year. If not, they go 10-7. If Aaron Rodgers does go to their team, I do think that is a win improvement. I do think he is better than Mason Rudolph. I do think he is better than a rookie Will Howard at this point. If you watch the game against the Jags, I know the Jags were really bad, but he played really, really well against the Jags, and he showed some Aaron Rodgers flashes. I think the Steelers are also way more of a competent and better ran organization than the New York Jets are. I don't think that's too shocking to hear me say. So the fact that it's 8.5 wins, it's mainly because it's plus money. If it was like -110, -112, I wouldn't be too excited about it. But it's +125 for the Steelers to do something they've done almost every season. Their defense is basically a lot of their defenders are coming back. The D-line should be looking pretty decent. They have a rookie defensive lineman that's going to be a nice upgrade for them. My biggest concern is their wide receiver room. The wide receiver room is dusty. But if Aaron Rodgers comes there, maybe he'll bring one or two of his guys over, and then it won't look as dusty. But yeah, ever since trading George Pickens, you got DK Metcalf and a bunch of Jags, which stands for just another guy. Now, mind you, these are obviously NFL players. They're NFL wide receivers. But if you compare the Steelers wide receiver room to some of these other wide receiver rooms, it's pretty dusty. But it's Mike Tomlin. I think he can win 9 games, regardless of who their quarterback is. If it's Aaron Rodgers, I'll feel a lot better about this over win total of 8.5. If it's not him, I'm going to feel a bit nervous. But yeah, I'm going to try to hop on this 8.5 before Aaron Rodgers does join. I think if he does join, I do think this 8.5 does drop a little bit. Might still stay at plus money, but I would not be shocked if it ends up going to like minus 105, minus 110, something like that, where it at least is a little bit lower in the odds. But yeah, so officially my 10, I guess, most intriguing, my 10 favorite pre-breakdown, whatever you want to call it. But 10 of these futures I really like. West Virginia over 5.5 wins. The Saints under 6.5 wins. That might be 5.5 now. Still like it under 5.5. Giants under 5.5 wins. Illinois. This is college football. Over 7.5 wins. Maybe I should rephrase. Let me redo that real quick, just for and you'll see if it'll be fine in the timestamps. But I'm going to redo that just to make it very clear, since it is college football and NFL. We're going to do college football first. But these are my 10 favorite futures before we do the official breakdown starting next week, people. College football-wise, West Virginia over 5.5 wins. Illinois over 7.5 wins. Illinois to make the college football playoffs. Georgia Tech over 7.5 wins. And Maryland over 4.5 wins. Like I said, the Illinois college football one, a little bit dicey on, but I like the odds. And I think this is an Illinois team that if they can get to 9-10 wins, like you're talking, hey, you might just make it. We're talking 4 bids, people. There's four teams from the Big Ten are most likely going to make it. They might not, but they just might. And then we got the NFL-wise, New Orleans Saints under 6.5 wins. It might be 5.5 wins now. The New York Giants under 5.5 wins. Ashton Genty over 1,075.5 rush yards. The Buccaneers to win their division, that I might hedge as well, and also bet the Falcons, because truly I do think it's Bucs or Falcons to win the division. And then you got the Steelers to have over 8.5 wins. Like I said, these are all bets that I've either placed or I'm going to be placing. By the time I'm on the show next week talking breakdowns, there's a really, really good chance that all these are going to be placed in some form or fashion. Because, yeah, it's officially, I mean, we need to start, I got to start putting money to the side and everything, start saving a little bit more, because it's officially, it's future season, people. I can't wait. I'm hopefully going to get the graphic finished, so I hope I can debut it by Tuesday, but we're going to have to see. Got a fun little thing to do for the futures that I want to debut. But thank you all for watching. Thanks for the support. Really do appreciate it. That'll do it for today. Gave you all my bets. Or I guess 10 futures that we're going to be excited for. And I'm probably going to bring these up again when I talk about some of these teams. But I at least wanted to bring them out now because these are 10 of the ones that, like I said, I pretty much placed all these. And I'm very, very excited about them. 91 days until week 1 of the NFL. And man, what is it? Like 4 days? Next Tuesday. We're starting breakdowns. I don't know which division we're going to start with, but we're starting with division breakdowns. Thank you all for watching. Really do appreciate it. I will see everyone back in this feed next Tuesday for some NFL breakdowns. Future bets, win totals, everything you could want.